A little late to the party, but that's okay, because Vince Gilligan has dropped another peak show. See, ever since Better Call Saul, we've been kind of starving, we've been craving. And turns out he was working on another show. If you hadn't been aware, the first time I heard about this, I was like, ooh. Set in the same place that his last two shows were set. Lots of the same actors. Rhea Seehorn. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I think this might sound crazy, but I kind of like Rhea Seehorn in this show. Her performance a bit more than I like it in Saul's. That may sound like a stretch, but I just think she plays this character insanely well. So Vince Gilligan made a show called Plur1bus, and so far there's a couple episodes out right now. But if you haven't heard of Plur1bus, it's basically, Jesus Christ, niggas fucking up and down the street. It's basically a show about how do I explain this? A miserable person trying to solve happiness. That's such a vague way to explain the show, and I kind of love it because it's exactly what's happening. But spoilers. The show is about some kind of cosmic fucking alien formula that was sent as a signal that our scientists on Earth have intercepted. And they thought it was an encryption, they thought it was a message, they thought it was all that shit. But then someone realized, wait a minute, it's not an encryption, it's not a message, or it is a message, but it's not an encryption, it's not all this super science shit. It's a formula. It's a formula to essentially like modify genetics or whatever. But this formula, they started testing on a lab rat, and from there that's kind of just where it goes off the chain. The lab rat seemingly died, but it wasn't dead. Its heart was still beating. Next thing you know, it bites or scratches one of the scientists working on it. And from there, Plur1bus starts spreading. Everyone starts becoming Plur1bus. And yeah, it's pretty creepy. Like, they did a really good job of making the first episode very, very creepy in like a... It's crazy because I've been watching a lot of horror films, so it didn't feel like a horror film, but it felt properly eerie, if you know what I mean. Hard to explain, but it felt properly eerie. So the Plur1bus starts spreading and shit. Everyone starts becoming Plur1bus, and you'll notice that they start using the people to start cotton swabbing their mouths in order to essentially mass produce Plur1bus, effectively turning the whole world into Plur1bus, essentially. So the whole world does become Plur1bus, and everything starts getting out of hand. There's like a small collapse. Her friend, the main character Carol's friend Helen, dies, and once the Plur1bus invasion is fully taken over, Plur1bus starts acting hella weird. See, it's not your typical alien invasion kind of thing. See, what Plur1bus does is it binds the entire human race and turns them all into one. So try and infect Carol, but she's kind of immune and she doesn't become Plur1bus. So Plur1bus is trying to figure out how to turn Carol into one of them. That's kind of like the plot of the show. And the thing about it is they're so weird. They start cleaning up the Earth essentially. And they make it clear that the reason why they're doing it's a biological imperative. So they have to. They don't have any choice. So Plur1bus was created. Some sentient being was created because a scientist was... I can't even blame scientists. I think, honestly, Plur1bus is probably the most grounded alien invasion that I could probably imagine. Just because, yeah, if we make contact with aliens, we're gonna try and figure that shit out. Especially if we get some fucking virus formula. We're gonna try to redevelop that virus, even if it's in like a small fucking, like we're simply that stupid, We're not gonna be like, oh wow, this is a virus, maybe we should not do this. But no, they're gonna do that shit. So Plur1bus kind of has to happen. But yeah, the show's fire. You realize that Plur1bus has identity, despite it, making everybody one and insisting that everyone is still their own individual. Plur1bus seems to basically be a person, not a person, but a sentience, right? Like a sentience. And it says we, but honestly, it's hard to believe that Plur1bus just isn't Plur1bus, Before it's the human race, it's Plur1bus, and it's just how Plur1bus is, It just thinks through using multiple brains and shit. I don't know. It's so far. Yeah. That I don't think. I don't know. Just I don't think the point of Plur1bus is to explain how Plur1bus exists. It's a pretty cool way to introduce the alien invasion, though. But it seems like the show is going to be very character oriented. Obviously, there's 11 other people who couldn't be infected, essentially. And so the plot seems to be them trying to find a way to do that, as a biological imperative. But at the same time, they don't want to harm. They literally cannot harm you. They cannot do anything to hurt you. So essentially, our main character, being such a crash out, she starts, screaming and being upset at her situation. And Plur1bus just starts freaking out. And once this happens, there's a bunch of people that kind of just start dying because they're like out doing shit, and then she just starts freaking out Plur1bus, so they like just die. And so the other people that she ends up meeting don't fuck with her because she's kind of just crashing out, and they like how things are. And that, dude, as soon as they did that, I'm like, oh, I love the dynamic, because they're making an agreeable person, but a miserable person who feels the need to save the world. But then she's asked the question, why? Why do we need to save the world? Things are good as they are. Okay, but they're going to try to take our identity away. But I want them to take my identity away. I want to be with my parents. They make it seem like it's great. They're not trying to coerce you or anything. They simply tell you how it is to be one with, I don't know, the rest of humanity. And she's trying to explain how it's simply just not right. And this is kind of where I see the show's motive, in a sense, because at the end of the episode 2, we have a character who Carol feels the need to protect. It's a female version of one of her fictional characters, or someone who resembles him. And we find out that Plur1bus can't necessarily make any choices because the choices result in hurting people. Plur1bus insists that Carol give permission to one of the others who can't be infected in order for him to take that individual in order to have sex with her and things like that. At first, she was like, yeah, Lorena, do what you want. But then at the end of the episode, she stops him, and it makes you think, well, okay, so maybe Plur1bus does maintain an amount of an identity for these people, or maybe it recognizes that it's powerless. Regardless, it's very odd how it does everything in its power to serve Carol and those who don't assimilate, essentially, when their whole goal is to get them to assimilate. They don't want to hurt anyone or anything. So it's very interesting to think about where Plur1bus is going to end up. I really appreciate this show. It's been a minute since I've been waiting for Vince Gilligan's next work, and honestly, I am not disappointed at all. The acting is great. Rhea Seehorn, peak, and it's just a fucking good ass premise. Like I've never heard of fucking a cosmic alien signal being used to create a virus and spread sentience and bind the human race. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on Plur1bus. I really am enjoying it so far, and hopefully the next episode will be just as good. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say. Peace.